Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. In the poll that you answered, I noticed that quite a few of you are not Jamboree students. So this is specifically for non-Jamboree students. A little bit about Jamboree. So we have been around since 1993. When we started out, we were the only company in India who was teaching GMAT, GRE, SAT, TOEFL, IELTS, and doing admissions counseling. And even now we are one of the handful of companies which does only these things. There are a lot of other companies who teach for GMAT, GRE, but they also teach for a lot of other exams such as CAT, GATE, etc. But we have remained focused on these exams alone. It's because of this focus that a lot of our students end up getting very high scores. On the GMAT, about 25% of our students end up getting 700 or more. On the GRE, about 20% of our students get 320 or more on the GRE, right? So we also do a lot of admissions counseling. We help students with their applications, right from shortlisting their universities, analyzing their profiles, identifying the gaps in their profiles, recommending things that they can do to fill those gaps, then writing the SOPs, LORs, CVs, filling out the online application forms, interview training, visa counseling. So whatever it takes basically to get to an admission, to get to a university of their choice. So we offer a whole range of services, and every year quite a few of our students end up getting admitted in the top 15, 20 universities in the world. Physically, we have got 39 centers across 22 cities in 4 countries. However, we have an extremely strong digital presence. We have been teaching online since 2012. We have an online product as well. So we get a fair number of students from outside India as well. In fact, we have students across the entire world. Most of them tend to be Indians, but we have students in if we have to look at the countries that our students come from, so we get students from close to 20, 25 countries, right? So if you want a demo class, this is primarily for students who are not Jamboree students. If you want to see how we teach the GMAT or how we teach the GRE, then we'll be happy to give you a demo class. If you want us to schedule a demo class for you, you can leave your number in the chat window. Our team would get in touch with you and schedule the session for you. Those of you who are Jamboree students, even you guys, if you want a profile evaluation session, if you haven't enrolled for our admissions counseling yet, no, you can. And if you want basic profile evaluation about what kind of GRE score you should be targeting, what kind of GRE scores you should have to get into the universities of your choice, or for your profile, what are the colleges that you can target, or just a basic profile evaluation for you to know what are the gaps in your profile and what you can do to fill those. So if anybody wants a profile evaluation session also, you can leave your number in the chat, right? So I see a lot of you typing, so I'll let you complete the typing. You don't have to write your names. Your names are appearing there already, so you don't have to write your name, just your number and the city. So if you write your number, then the city, just that's enough. If your number is 1 2 3 4 5 6, then like followed by the city, the number and the city, that will help us arrange a counseling session for you accordingly. The city that you are from, your number and the city that you are from. Okay, today this discussion will divide it into two parts. First, we'll talk about the different types of courses that you can opt for, and then we'll talk about what are the things you should take into consideration while deciding which university to apply for, right? So there will be two clear segments to this talk. How we are going to run this session is that while I am speaking, please do not type your questions in the chat window. I will have a Q&A session at the end where we'll take your questions. Right now, just sit back and pay attention. Right? Okay. Now, when we talk about course options, there are management programs that some of you may be wanting to shift to, like MBA or any kind of management programs after your bachelor's degree. So that is one option. And nowadays a lot of the GMAT, lot of the MBA programs, they accept GRE scores also, right? Then of course the most common thing is that you continue doing a master's in the same field in which you are doing your bachelor's degree. So if your bachelor's degree is in mechanical engineering, you can do a master's degree in mechanical engineering, straightforward, right? If your bachelor's degree is in computer science, you can do a master's degree in computer science, right? So that's so you can anyway always do a master's degree in the field in which you are doing your bachelor's degree. Now, engineering programs. What are the top engineering programs that students, in especially Indian students, they opt for? This is not a comprehensive list. This is just the top programs, top engineering programs that students opt for. Computer science. So, computer science is the number one program for which Indian students apply for. Electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, biomedical engineering. So in India, only a handful of colleges have the have biomedical engineering kind of program. They have biotech, but biomedical engineering is quite rare in India. However, if you have a if you have a electrical, or if you have a computer science, this kind of degrees, you can opt for, or biotech people, obviously you can go for a biomedical engineering degree as well. Then computer engineering, metallurgy and materials engineering, telecom engineering. So in India, you don't have a bachelor's degree in telecom, but telecom is a part of electronics. Telecom is a part of electrical. So you can so a lot of students opt for the masters in telecom engineering when they apply for the masters program. Industrial engineering. Now industrial engineering, again, you don't have bachelors in industrial engineering, not many of them in anyway. However, anybody, computer science, electrical, mechanical, computer engineering, anybody can apply for a masters in industrial engineering program. Now, in terms of non-engineering programs the students opt for, there's economics. So even people with engineering background, by the way, can apply for these programs. Yes, the competition would be tough. It's highly recommended that you have a background. But if you are not from an engineering background, right? If you are from the humanities background or sciences background, so these are some of the programs, some of the top non-engineering programs that Indian students apply for. Economics, financial economics, psychology. Psychology is really is one of the highest, it is one of the most employable degrees. If you do your psychology from a US university or a Canadian university, then your jobs are pretty lucrative. So in terms of non-engineering programs, one of the highly employable degrees is a master's in psychology degree. Then there are, of course, pure science degrees such as applied physics, applied mathematics. Creative writing is something that is really coming up, and even students who have an engineering degree, I mean, non-writing degree, they can also apply. Creative writing is extensively used nowadays for digital marketing, website content development, etc., etc. So writing degrees are slowly, they are gaining popularity. Students get, it's easier to get for students to get jobs, right? So these are some of the top non-engineering programs that Indian students apply for. Then digital marketing, again, anybody can apply. Anybody with any degree can apply for a digital marketing master's degree, if you are interested in digital marketing, that is, obviously. Then there are some interdisciplinary programs, right? A master's in computational finance, they offered by these are like not very common, but they are highly lucrative degrees and in demand degrees. Indian students don't apply for this usually because they are not aware of the existence of these degrees, but you should know. So MS computational finance degree is a degree that combines a little bit of programming with knowledge of finance. People with engineering degrees are welcome to apply. People with maths and science, maths and statistics kind of backgrounds are also welcome to apply. So you can be a BSc statistics or BSc maths, and you can also apply. right? You may be from a BSc computer science or BTech in computer science, and you can apply. So then there is MS in financial engineering. It is mainly a program for engineers, right? Anybody with any engineering degree can apply, but even students with economics and maths and special, MCA kind of degrees are also welcome to apply, right? So they need a strong, basically analytical background. They want students with analytical bent of mind. Then there's engineering management. We come across a lot of students who are engineers, but they are not too keen on continuing to do the master's degree in the field in which they have done a bachelor's degree. At the same time, they find the MBA degree very expensive. They don't want to go for an MBA right after their bachelor's degree. So for such students, the engineering management part is a very, sensible part. So instead of, let's say you have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, let's say, so you can do a master's in engineering management right after your bachelor's degree. And after doing this degree, you get jobs in the first level management in engineering companies. And after working for about 4 or 5 years, if you want, you can do an MBA later on, and you will be able to get into really good MBA schools, because your post masters work experience will be of managerial level. So this is a very smart move, especially for students from like non management degree students who want to move into management, but don't want to do an MBA right away. Then there is MIS. MIS is really, one of the again highest employability degree. Anybody with a computer science, electrical, or a good programming background can apply, right? Even students with BCom students with programming background, you don't have to do programming as a part of your curriculum. If you have certifications, if you have done certification courses, diplomas to prove that you know coding, that you know programming, then they hire I mean they you can apply for the MIS program. Business analytics is an up and coming degree. Again, engineering students are welcome to apply. BCom, MCom students are welcome to apply. Students with maths and statistics and programming backgrounds are welcome to apply, right? If people with work experience related to programming, related to business, are also welcome to apply. So this is again in demand program. A lot of jobs in this sector, and and they are offered by quite a few good universities in the US. Another program is masters in integrated marketing communications. It's a little known degree. Not many Indian students are aware of it, but in the West, whether it is Europe or US or Canada, so there are a lot of jobs for this degree. The only requirement is that you have to write well. If you have a humanities background combined with a little bit of marketing experience, then this can be a really good option for you. You can check out these programs. Right? I mean, the names of the universities are also there. You can, if you want, you can click a picture of the screen and check out these programs on your own later on. For purely for purely computer science, or programmers, there are these programs like MS game design, MS game development, MS programming, etc. So which focuses on mobile apps, game development. Online gaming is a big sector. I'm sure some of you would know. There are million dollar like online game competitions that happen on a monthly basis. So online gaming is a big thing, right? Therefore the whole technology behind it is also a big thing. So those of you who are specifically interested in this, there are degrees for you, right? Then there's MS in operations research, right? So anybody with again engineering background, engineering degree can apply. People with math, science, economics, degrees can also apply. BCom, MCom students can also apply, right? Only requirement is that you should have some knowledge of mathematics, statistics, and engineers. Even if you have, enough in the first year, you anyway study maths and stats, right? So you that qualifies you. So these are again in the analytics industry. So people with MS operations research, are hired quite frequently. So it's good career path. In the consulting industry, MS in operations research people are hired for as first level researchers, right? So if you want to transition into consulting, if you want to transition into analytics, then MS operations research is a good degree. And some of the top universities in the world, they offer this degree. So in terms of brand name, you will get a degree from a really brand name university on your CV. That anyway always helps. Some more, again, this is MS in information assurance. So this is a subset of computer science. So if you remember earlier, I told you that most Indian students apply for computer science. Therefore computer science degrees end up becoming very, very competitive. But if you play it smart, instead of applying for a regular instead of applying to a regular MS in computer science program, if you instead apply for MIS, financial engineering, information assurance, software engineering, HCI, so those are also part of computer science. But in India, students don't know that these degrees exist. Therefore, not many students apply. What that means is that if you apply for these programs, your competition is less. You would end up getting admission in good colleges. You would end up getting, your competition for admission and scholarship, both the competition is less. MS in engineering, energy engineering. This is again an up and coming field. In today's world, there's an energy crisis. There is a lot of concern about the exhaustion of the fossil fuels and the environmental implications of those. So a lot of research, a lot of jobs are there in the energy segment, right? So those of you who want to do this, and this is mainly for engineers, by the way, people with engineering backgrounds, any kind of engineering degrees. MS in manufacturing engineering is again if you want to apply for MS in mechanical engineering, that is again a little bit of like competitive degree. Instead, if you apply for a manufacturing engineering, the competition is less, more scholarships available, right? So just check out, just apply smart. When you are applying to universities, apply smart. Apply to programs in which you would not have that much competition, and programs that are close to what you are looking for anyway. MS in supply chain management is again a program open for anybody with a maths and stats background. That means it includes anybody with an economics degree, with a maths degree, with a statistics degree, with a BCom kind of, BCom MCom background, or engineers, they can apply. Transportation engineering is a subset of civil engineering. So a lot of civil engineering students apply. So transportation engineering is big. In India, there are not many colleges which offer the transportation engineering degree. However, in India, there's a lot of work going on in the transportation domain. The metros being built, in a lot of the big cities. So actually, a lot of the engineers involved in the metro project. Now, they are actually they hold transportation engineering degrees from abroad, purely because there is not like too much supply of transportation engineering engineers in India, right? So if you want, and nowadays, like almost all countries are there working on the transportation systems. With population increasing, transportation engineering has become almost a science, right? So civil engineering students, structural engineering students, mechanical engineering students. So transportation engineering a good option for you. MS in HCI, so human computer interaction. That is a again up and coming field, like virtual reality and all of that comes under HCI. So it is a subset of computer science. So do check that out. AI, ML, all of that. Nuclear engineering, again, any engineering student can apply. Even people with physics degrees, bachelor's in physics, bachelor's in chemistry, they can also apply. Petroleum engineering, again, any engineering student, but specifically if you have a mechanical or chemical engineering kind of degrees, you can apply for this program. Masters in data science, just like business analytics, data science is the buzzword in today's world. Lot of jobs in this sector. and anybody can apply. If you want to improve your chances, then you can learn some programming to add more, like, credibility to your profile. But MS data science in today's world is probably the safest degree, safest degree in terms of getting a job, right? So and even humanities students, if they have maths, if they have some certifications for programming languages, etc., they can also apply for MS in data science. However, engineering students and science background students, especially math and stats background students, are preferred. But as I said, this is an up and coming field. There are not too many colleges which offer bachelors in data science. Therefore, the universities are also more flexible. If you do want to apply for a data science degree, then you can enhance your academic profile by doing certification courses related to R and Python and data scientist tools, etc., etc. These courses are available online. Now this is more for like the people who want to take a step towards marketing. Is MS in social media management and marketing, right? So the social media is again, it has kind of literally boomed in the last 2-3 years, the social media marketing piece, right? And for this, again, your bachelor's degree is not as important as how well you know these engines, how well you have used those, whether you have what kind of ideas you have. So they are quite open, and anybody with any background can actually apply, right? So this again a very highly employable degree, especially since most businesses are moving online. Therefore, the need for online digital marketing and everything is going up, right? So these are some of the interesting programs that came up in the last 2-3 years. This is not a comprehensive list at all. So if you I mean, we'll be happy to speak to you one on one and see what kind of programs, what kind of courses you are interested in. And any of you, if you want to check out your eligibility for any of these programs, you can again leave your number and write the city that you are from. Our team will be happy to speak to you one on one if there's anything that you are interested in, right? So anything else, any program, biotech or geotechnical engineering, or anything that you want to specifically talk about, we can do so. Charu, MS economics we already discussed. I think you joined a little bit late. So MIM is again MBA, MIM. So those come under the management programs, as I told you. So you can apply directly for an MIM, or you can apply directly for an MBA as well. For MIM, you don't need work experience. Akanksha, MEM I already discussed. MEM stands for Masters in Engineering Management. That I already discussed, right? And a lot of things I discussed related to computer science. So you might want to watch the recording later on. So Anna Rose, in like outside India, there is nothing called MS in electronics. So electronics comes under electrical, right? Okay. So construction management, architecture, so those are also programs. As I said, this is not a comprehensive list. These are the programs that came up in the last 2-3 years that our students have applied for. And the program that you are looking for may not be in the list that we discussed right now. It does not mean that that it does not exist, or that it's not possible to get admission. It just, as I said, it's not a comprehensive list. So if you want to talk about any specific program that you are interested in, or if you want to check your own eligibility for any of these programs, just leave your number along with the city, and we can have a one-on-one session with you, right? Okay, now let's talk about university selection. So these are some of the programs. Now let's come to universities, right? So university selection is a two-way process. So the college should fit your requirements. Now your requirements can be even things like budget, whether maybe you want to go to a specific state or country because you have got relatives there. So it can mean anything. So the college that you are applying to, the university that you are applying to, of course it should fit your requirements. But there's also another thing, that you should also fit the college's requirements. That means, do you have the kind of profile that the university is looking for? So the university selection is a two-way process. The college should meet your requirements and you should meet the college's requirements. So what it means is that, let me give you an example. Let's say that you want to apply for MS in engineering management in a certain university, because the university is good, it fits in your budget, it is, employment statistics are good, so of course it meets your requirements. However, for the engineering management degree there, let's say they want you to have background in maths. They want to see that you have done at least one or two courses related to maths in your bachelor's degree. If you don't have that, then you are not meeting the college's requirements, right? So whenever you are checking out any university, do check out if they have any prerequisites in terms of courses. For some of the programs there are prerequisites means the university would want you to have done a couple of courses in some specific area. So check out whether you meet their requirements or not. So it's a two-way process. So do understand that it's a two-way process. Now your requirements. So this is we get a lot of students who come to us with different requirements, and we have kind of arranged those requirements in some broad buckets. First, you should worry about the quality of education. Quality of education is directly proportional to the quality of the university. If a university is not in our top 100 200, then obviously the professors who would be working there would may not be the best, right? So the make sure that whichever college you are studying in your bachelor's degree, your master's degree college should be better than that. Ultimately, when you apply for jobs, etc., your recruiter, people who interview you, would look at your CV, and your CV should have an upward trend. Your bachelor's degree college, your master's degree college should be better than your bachelor's degree college, right? So keep that in mind, otherwise the quality of your CV would go down. Students usually, they when they come to us for university shortlisting, budget happens to be a big piece of the whole conversation. They want colleges in a certain, budget, whether which scholarships, without scholarships, but they give us that this is the maximum that we can spend, right? So budget seems, at least for Indian students, budget is one of these criteria. So when you are researching any university, please check out the university website for tuition, right? What's the tuition fees and the cost of living. So cost of living is often a factor of the city rather than the university. Okay. So budget, when you are thinking about budget, so it will be like, tuition plus living. It's not only tuition, so tuition plus living. So tuition is something that you would find on the university website. And when you are looking for tuition on the university website, look for the fees for international students. Domestic students usually have to pay one fourth of what international students pay. So look for the fees for international students and the cost of living. The cost of living will not be there on the university website. You have to go and check out the international students page. That's where you will find the cost of living information, right? So that's how you decide whether a university is within your budget or not. Scholarships, it's again one of the Indian students, they do want to get some kind of scholarships. There are universities which do not give scholarships to international students. University of Southern California, University of Pennsylvania, there are a handful of colleges where they do not give scholarships to international students, right? So if you are dependent on scholarships, if you want scholarships, then you should not apply to colleges which as a policy do not give scholarships to international students, right? So do the research. Usually all the information that you need would be there on the university's website. Now when you're looking about scholarships also, let's say there are two colleges, college A and college B, right? So now in college A, let's say there is no scholarship, In college B, there is scholarship. But if the tuition plus cost of living, let's say the tuition of let's say college A is $35,000, $35,000, let's say, but college B is $60,000. So even with scholarship, college B is expensive for you. So don't let the scholarship be the only factor that decides, right? So you have to look at both. Is the college inherently very, very expensive? In that case, even with scholarships, your the amount that you'll be spending will not come down by that much. Right? So do look at the tuition of the university and the scholarship amount. Lot of the state colleges, like any university which has a name state in it, right? Public versus private, so all the public colleges are cheaper, like like Arizona State University, University of Michigan Ann Arbor, in North Carolina State University. So the state universities are cheaper. The public universities tend to be a little cheaper, but they don't have too much scholarships as well. Still, even without scholarship, a public university would end up being far cheaper than a private university, which would give you a lot of scholarship. So, Carnegie Mellon, for instance, even with scholarship, it is way too expensive, right? So, no, do that research, and don't think about scholarships or tuitions in isolation. When you are talking about your budget, it should be like, with scholarship, without scholarship, overall what's the tuition fee. So you do have to take that into account when you are researching, or when you are finally, looking at, shortlisting the universities that you want to apply to. So is this point clear? So I hope it's clear that how some universities, even if they don't give scholarships, can end up becoming beyond your budget, purely because their inherent tuition fee is itself very high. Okay. Next is obviously job prospects. Now in this, if you get admission in a top 50 college, it's fine, doesn't matter, the job prospects are good. So if you're looking at top 50 college, it's good, the job prospects will be good. However, if your profile is not good enough, or if you don't have a good enough GRE score to get into a top 50 university, then the next thing you have to look for is location. Don't worry about rankings anymore. It's just like in India. If you are in an IIT or a top 20, NIT, then the location of the college is not important. Just because you are in an IIT or a top NIT, you will get a good job. However, if it's not an NIT or an IIT, then you go to a college in a big city, right? Because there are more jobs in big city. So that's the same logic for any other country as well. If you are getting admission in a top college, doesn't matter where the location is, you would end up getting a good job. But if you are not getting especially in the US, if you're not getting not getting admission in a top 50 university, then go to universities in big cities like New York, New Jersey, Chicago, Bay Area, right? So go to big cities where jobs are available. In the UK, for instance, if you are getting admission in a top 10 college, go there. If not, then go to colleges in London. That's where your jobs are, right? So same thing with Canada. If you're getting admission in the top 5 colleges, go there. Otherwise, go to big cities like Vancouver, Toronto, etc. Okay. So either you go to a top university, or you go to a university located in a big city. So don't be too hang up. So let's say there are two colleges, one that is ranked 60 and one that is ranked 80. Let's say the college ranked 60 is in a small city, and the college ranked 80 is in a big city. So go to this college, right? That is what will drive your job opportunities. Is this clear? So always apply to a mix of colleges, obviously. Apply to some high ranking colleges, mid ranking colleges, some safe colleges that are safe for your profile. And once you get multiple admission offers, then you sit down and take these decisions. but don't make the mistake of being completely driven by rankings. Is this clear about the point about job prospects? Everybody clear? Am I audible? Can you hear me? Okay, all right. Now some points, just if you are, if let's say you want to apply to these kind of programs. Now in India also, some locations are good for some type of programs, some locations are good for some other type of programs. The same logic applies for, especially for US. US is a big country. It's a huge country, right? In terms of area, it's like, more than triple of in India. It's a huge country. So all colleges are not equally good for all programs, right? And when it comes to job prospects, and ultimately I'm sure all of you would want to get a job right after your master's degree. So, if you want to go for these programs, computer science, MIS, electrical, electronics, what you call, so these kind of programs, then the universities in these states, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, California, in Canada, Ontario, of course, Texas. So these are good for computer science and electrical engineering related programs, because there are a lot of software and electronics industries in these states. So when you are doing the final semester of your master's degree, you can start, looking for jobs. When you are in the summer semester, you can do internships. If it's like in the same area as yours, it will be easier for you to go for job interviews. It will be easier for you to find internships. So location in that, case matters a lot, right? Okay. So for these kind of programs, mechanical related, the degree can be mechanical engineering, manufacturing engineering, industrial engineering, engineering management. So these are mostly like, the engineering domain per se. So the universities in Michigan, Missouri, Wisconsin, Texas, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Ontario, British Columbia, Arkansas, they are good. They are good for these programs, because again there are a lot of auto industries and manufacturing industries in these states. So the logic has to be then driven by industries. What industries are there? Okay. For this biotech kind of programs, right? Life sciences, biotech, biomedical engineering, MS or PhD in biological sciences, life sciences kind of programs. So your universities in these states, New York, Virginia, Washington, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Florida, Maryland, and other states in the East Coast. So US has the West Coast and the East Coast. So all these are in the east side of the US. So they are good for biotech, or life sciences kind of programs, because there are a lot of biotech industries and research firms in the states. So that's where you would anyway look for jobs. That's where the money is, right? So those of you who are looking for the life sciences or biotech kind of program, drug development, drug delivery, immunology, all those research oriented life sciences programs, these states are good, because East Coast is where a majority of the research on in life sciences, that's happening, right? Now for health, little bit of health kind of related programs. um, MPH, MHA, pharmacy related to programs, whether it's MS or PhD doesn't matter. Any state in the US would be fine for studying, obviously, quality of education wise. But more jobs are available in the rich states which have more money in their budgets. They have more money to spend on research. That's what's meant by the rich states: New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Washington, Massachusetts, California, Florida, Michigan, and Texas. So if you note, or if you have an idea about the geography of the US, so these states are located all across the US. Your New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, they are on the East Coast, whereas California is on the West Coast, Florida is down south, Michigan is also, up above. Texas is Midwest. So these are literally, spread all across the US, because these are just the rich states. It's nothing to do with the East Coast or West Coast, right? For finance kind of programs, like, financial engineering, finance, computational finance. So programs related to finance and business, colleges in the East Coast are good, right? New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Virginia. So these colleges, right? So the East Coast colleges, that's where lot of the, even DC, that's where your stock exchange is, right? So all these places, they are good for finance related programs. So basically, the point I'm trying to make is that when you are looking at university shortlisting process should not be only about rankings. Yes, rankings are important, but ultimately you want to end up with a job. So please do research about your specific industry, the industry that you want to get into, the industry that you will get a job in after your master's degree. Do research, find out which states in the US, or which, even in Canada or UK, which places, which cities are good for that industry, right? And look for universities there. Ultimately, you would want to look for internships. It should be convenient for you to go for interviews, etc. So take that into account. When you're looking at the cost, it's not just the tuition. The cost of living is important, plus what kind of scholarships are available. So the university shortlisting process is not a very straightforward rankings oriented process. You have to keep a lot of things in mind. Okay. So I hope you got some brief idea to start your research. uh, in case you want to like help us with your university shortlisting, if you want a demo GMAT or GRE class, if you want us to look at your profile and check out your eligibility, etc., we'd be happy to do so. You can leave your number in the chat, along with the city that you are from, so that we can have somebody call you. In case you are done, in case you have no questions, please feel free to leave. Thanks for attending. Yes, Arpan Goel, what's your question?
Ma'am, I wanted to know if the quant score is, quant score matters more than the verbal score in GRE.
If you're applying for engineering and science related programs, then your quant score should be at least a 158.
I'll be applying for business analytics, MSNBA.
Yeah, then also business analytics is also comes under, you need to have quantitative, the quantitative angle should be strong. So 158 you should target in math.
I got a score of 165, so I was
That's fine.
wondering if they look,
165 is good. I mean, the minimum you would have needed is a 158. You have a 165. That's
but
fine.
like I got a score of 149 in verbal. So I was wondering if they consider the quant score more or.
No, it's not a quad. They will look at the overall GRE score, but at the same time, they do want to see a minimum of 158 in your GREs, in your
Okay.
math section, which you have done.
Okay, and my verbal score is also fine.
What does the total come up to?
340,
One
314.
314. See, we'll have to look at the rest of your profile to understand, because business analytics is a competitive degree, it's a highly competitive degree. Do you have any work experience?
I am currently working, but like I graduated in 2020 only, so it's just 4 to 5 months of experience.
Okay, okay. All right, so Arpan, if you have left your number in the chat, and we will like to speak to you to understand which college you are from, what was your percentages, do you have any backlogs? So a lot of things have to be looked at, because
Okay,
just on the basis of the 314 GRE is difficult to say whether you will be able to get admission in a good college or not.
but is it a good score? Like if we don't
It's a
look at
decent
the.
score. It's a decent score. See,
Oh,
business and if you are applying for a computer science or electrical kind of degree where there are a lot of universities available, I would have said a straight yes. I would have said yeah, it's good. But
Okay.
business analytics is not, it is like, you'll find the business analytics degree in about 20-25 colleges, right?
Okay.
Not all,
Yeah.
not like hundreds of colleges. So
Yeah.
so that makes the whole thing a little bit, we have to look a little bit deeper to understand, how strong your profile is.
Okay. Okay. Got it. I have entered my number in the chat.
Right. Okay. Okay,
Okay.
Arpan.
Thank you.
Thanks. Amit Manocha.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, so actually, I have a 2.5 years of experience in the IT sector, and I was wondering how much score should I target? One thing, and the second question is, are 1 year MS programs also as credible as 2 years?
Okay. First, to answer your first question, what master's degree do you want to pursue?
Business analytics or data science? I have a experience in business analytics only, 2.5 years.
That is good. That is good.
Okay.
So in your case, if you can, manage something close to 315, 320, you should be able to get into a good, decent college. And what was your, if you don't mind, what is your bachelor's degree percentage?
Uh, 7.4 CGPA,
Which college?
Amity University.
That would not be considered to be a tier one college. And I hope
Mm,
you don't take any offense, but
mm,
uh, y- you know, the no, it's not an IIT or an NIT,
yeah,
so,
yeah, I understand.
but like, yeah, it would not be. So from there, so yeah, I think three, just to be on the safe side, if you can get a 318, 320, with at least a 158 in the math portion.
Okay, okay, fine. And what about the 1 year MS programs? Like I was looking for
Yeah, for business analytics, see,
yeah,
business analytics, there are some business analytics programs where it is mandatory to get work experience,
okay,
if you have seen, right? So for those programs are 1 year only, because they have a prerequisite. They want the students to come with certain number of years of work experience. So the 1 year business analytics degrees, they are usually the ones which require the student to have work experience. So they're legit degrees. The universities, as long as the universities are legit, the degrees are also legit.
and what about data science?
Data science, same thing. Your
Okay,
business analytics, data science. I'm talking about that whole segment.
okay, and with what is the target like geographical location for such degrees for 1 year
So
program?
these are newer programs, and if you see, you'll find less than 30 colleges, right?
Okay,
So then the location does not matter. It's a in-demand course. The jobs are there. The number of graduates are not that high. Actually, the demand is more than supply.
okay, so I should target around more than 320 to get an admission
At
easily.
least at least a 318 and a
150.
158 in math.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
All right. All the best.
Thank you.
Yes, Vidya Shankar, what's your question? Vidya Shankar?
Hello, ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you please tell me a bit more about winter? I mean, fall versus spring. I mean, how does it matter if you don't get? I mean, is it worth to wait for 1 year or just apply for spring?
What
And
program are you applying for?
I am actually I haven't decided any university or anything of that sort, but control systems because my major is in mechatronics, so I've decided for control systems, and then I have an experience of 2.5 years in an MNC Rockwell that is concerned with automation, basically control systems.
So your control system, so that is way too, what I can say,
Yes, yes,
what to focus. So maybe
yeah.
it will come on broadly under electrical, if I'm not wrong.
Actually, mechanical. I have.
Mechanic, right?
Yes,
So that's
yes.
okay. So see, the thing is that there are about 30% universities which
Mhm.
do not take students in spring. But I think for mechanical, almost all those colleges they take students in spring. So that would not be, if the university that you are applying to, if it takes students in spring, then go ahead and go with spring. There's no downside to applying in spring. Spring means the semester that starts in January.
But
There's no downside
I've
applying in
heard that the internships are limited when you go for a spring.
No, no, not really. For somebody to get an internship, for international students to get an internship, the requirement is that you have to be in the US for the previous 12 months. So that's the only requirement. So otherwise, there is no, there is no challenge as
Okay.
such.
And I have another question, which is pertinent to me because my bachelor's course academics weren't as good. It was 7.2 CGPA, and plus I had a couple of backlogs in my first year. So while
Which college did you do it from?
NSIT, that's NSIT Delhi.
Okay, so that's good. Your college is good. So, I mean, your college is,
Yes, yes. That
would be considered in a, to be a, higher level. So, and so your this 7.2 is fine. But if you still think, so for as far as I am concerned, it's not going to hold you back. But if you do want to strengthen it, then I would recommend that you can do some online courses from some top universities nowadays, especially because of this whole coronavirus thing.
Mhm.
A lot of these universities, even your top, Harvard and MITs, they are offering courses online that are available to anybody in the world, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, they're expensive, yes. For one course, you may have to shell out 7,000, 8,000. But if you
Mhm.
take a couple of courses from really top universities and get good grades,
Yes.
that will be a definitely good way of enhancing your academic profile.
Mhm. And also, one more question: is it wise enough to apply this year because of the pandemic thing? Do you think it will affect? And I mean, while we get to a point where we have to search for jobs.
So you are targeting for fall 2021,
Uh,
right?
yes, yes, yes. Fall 2021.
Fall 2021 things will be much better.
Okay. Thank you.
Nobody knows actually. To me,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I am hoping it will be better. There's a whole news about all these vaccines coming around, and campuses are opening up. For the spring sessions, our students, they have got intimations from the universities that their classes will be conducted in person. So we are hoping, but then you never know. I don't think anybody knows.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
I don't think that was too helpful, but
No, no. It's. I mean, we all are. I mean, we. Nobody knows. It's something which you can't know.
yeah,
It's.
and I can't tell you, no, I mean, it will be fine. I can't do that. So, yeah.
And also, can you tell us? I mean, how do I reach out to you in case if I have to like do a counseling and stuff? I mean, for
Which
selecting
center are you
universities.
from?
I'm living in Dwarka. It's actually in West Delhi, I think. Delhi.
No, I mean, which Jambori center are you from?
No, no, I'm not a Jambori student.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah,
have you left your number in the chat?
yeah, I have. I have put
Yeah,
up
yeah,
my
yeah.
number.
So
Yeah,
then you can let them. You can, whenever you speak to them, you can let them know.
sure, sure.
Alright. Okay, so do we have time for two more questions very quickly? So those, if I'm not able to answer your questions, please leave your question in the chat window along with your number and the city. So when when the counselors talk to you, they can take up your question. Karthik Khanna. Karthik Khanna, what's your question? You can unmute yourself, Karthik Khanna. Hello, Karthik Khanna. Okay, let me. Manish Tiwari. Manish Tiwari.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, hi. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question. Actually, I want to apply for New York City, and I have seen the video for computer science and electronic background. Uh, that place is like good for. So, ma'am, I belong to mechanical background. I have done BTech in mechanical. So, can I apply for computer science subject in that area?
Do you have any work experience?
I have a work experience of 3 years in different sectors, ma'am.
In
Like,
the software industry?
no, not in computer industry, but I have worked in automobile industry for 1 year, and the rest of the 2 year I have worked in a media company as a service engineer.
Okay, so do you have any software background? I mean, computer science background?
No, ma'am, no. But I want to go for New York City.
So in New York
And
City itself, I would recommend that you apply for electrical engineering or computer engineering because you said you have worked as a service engineer. So you can
mm,
apply for computer engineering, not computer science, because computer science you
ma'am.
would need relevant work experience at least, you know. So you can apply for computer engineering in New York City. You know, there are universities there.
Yes, ma'am. I thought that because, ma'am, there the jobs are also available in a computer background. All the companies are, so that's why I asked,
Computer,
ma'am.
there are two parts of computer. The software part is what computer science is. The hardware part, the telecom part, that is what computer engineering is. You know, the networking part, all of that comes under computer engineering or electrical engineering, right? So you can apply for that part.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, can I ask, means how much marks I have to secure if I want to apply for that city?
The New York
If you have
area
any
itself,
idea.
there are different types of colleges. You know, there are some of the Ivy League colleges like Cornell, Columbia. They are situated in, you know, NYU. They are situated in, you know, New York. At the same time, there are the State University of New York SUNY colleges there, right? So there are lots of good colleges in New York. So if you want to apply to the really topmost colleges, they're definitely not 330 for sure. But even the average colleges, like you know, if you should be able to get in if you get a score of around 310. The
Okay.
range would
Okay,
be, let me say, 310 to 330 ish.
ma'am. I have heard that some colleges like they allow only those student like whose family member are living there. Is
No,
it
that's not true. That's not at all true.
okay, ma'am?
Yeah, I have done my masters from the US and my family has never even been to the US. So that's so that's completely untrue.
Uh, that is why I want to clear, ma'am.
All right.
I have a doubt from it. Thank you so much, ma'am.
All the best, Manish. Abhinav Gangwar.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hi. Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. My question is right now I'm doing my right now I'm pursuing my BTech in computer science engineering with data analytics from the Galgottias University. So I want to start my career as a data analyst. So like, which master's program is good to do?
Can go for either because you're from an engineering background. You can go for either data science or data analytics. You know, data science maybe would be a better because it will be related to what you were studying. And I would strongly recommend that you supplement whatever you are studying in college. Try to supplement that with an internship or maybe some additional certificates, right? Because the data science field is extremely becoming extremely competitive, day by day.
Okay. So I need any other degree also, like static degree or like something that.
No. No need for that. So, as a part of in your bachelor's degree, do you study Python, R programming, etc., Hadoop, big data analysis?
Yeah,
Do you study any of these?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is.
Then I think your curriculum should be fine. Then try to get an internship, to make your profile stronger.
Okay. So I should go with the data science, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. Data science would be a better way. Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right. So that's all the time we have. Thanks for participating. You have been a great audience. So I hope to see some of you back tomorrow. Tomorrow same time 6 o'clock. And so if I have not been able to take your questions.